have sponsored by dunnhumby. dunnhumby is a retail leader. They have sponsored our main stage here, and we are thrilled to have them join us. Today we're going to have Jenn Dabbelt, the SVP of Global Head of Product at dunnhumby, and she's going to be speaking on AI and RI, or retail intelligence, and how this is the winning combination. Let's give her a round of applause as she takes the stage.
Awesome. Good afternoon. Come on, guys. This is the one and only audience participation portion, I promise. Good afternoon. Much better. Thank you. That helps. All right, great. I'm so excited to be with you this afternoon. As Chris mentioned, my name is Jenn Dabbelt, and I lead product for our retail and insights offering at dunnhumby. Today we're going to be talking about AI and RI, this concept of real intelligence to blend in with artificial intelligence. But before I get into the content, you know that you've heard a lot of themes this week. You've heard around the use of AI and where it can add a lot of value. We've heard some about customer perception, and you've heard a lot about trust. So I thought I'd start with a quick story about trust. About a week ago, I was talking to my daughter. I have two daughters, they're 6 and 4, and I was telling the 6-year-old that I was coming to present here. And she said, "Gosh, aren't you scared?" And I said, "Well, shoot, not before you said that, but thanks." And then she asked me, "Well, why do people come to hear you or anyone else speak?" Right? This is a new concept for her. Other than her teacher, she really doesn't listen to anyone speak. I said, "That's a really great question." So I started to think about it, and I was like, especially for a forum like this, I think it's a blend of interest and trust, right? So you've got an interest in the topic. It's something you want to learn more about. It's something you want to engage with other experts on, but it's also an element of trust. You're trusting the presenters up on stage and in the breakout sessions to share information that's valuable to you. Whether that's to teach you something, to give you a takeaway, to really add value to your day and make sure your time is well used. So first and foremost, I want to thank you all for your interest and your trust in being here with us this afternoon. And I hope that at the end of this presentation, I've delivered on that promise and made my 6-year-old happy, that I've given you something you can take away, whether it's a learning or a tip, that there's something that's really valuable for your time well spent. So let's jump in. A little bit about dunnhumby to start. So if you didn't know dunnhumby before this week, hopefully you learn a little bit more today. So we've been around for almost 35 years, and we're in the customer data science space. And we're able to help retailers and CPGs leverage the data they have to understand customer behavior and make more informed decisions about their business. Now, this comes to life in a variety of ways, but we'll talk a little bit more about some of the examples together today. Our understanding of data is probably one of the things that makes us most valuable to our partners, and it's something that we really take seriously about how we leverage that understanding and use it to build customer trust and not break it. This is a snapshot from a Google search done last week of some of the headlines around AI. Big topic, right? And what you'll see when you look at this, you could do the same search today and find even more results. There's a lot of interest in the topic for a variety of reasons, whether it's different applications, understanding, or as Chris was just sharing, making our lives easier. But if you look at these headlines, the other thing you'll see is that the sentiment varies widely, from excitement and innovation to lack of understanding to outright fear. And so what this tells us is the perception around AI varies greatly, and this obviously has a huge impact on how we use that to build and leverage trust. When we think about trust, dunnhumby has conducted a consumer trends tracker where we surveyed over 2,000 users and really tried to understand their perceptions around evolving technology. What you'll see in this chart is 80% of users have little to no trust in AI today. That's a huge number, right? And it means the portion of consumers who do have trust are very few. So when we think about how we apply AI to different solutions and the value it can add, we have to be really careful not to break that trust. If we dig a layer deeper and understand why consumers have concerns Around AI, we found a number of topics that came up. And you'll see everything on here from misinformation, a lack of control, to loss of jobs, which tells us this is really personal to consumers. It impacts their daily lives, and it has a huge impact on how they perceive the solutions and the technology to be helping or hurting in different scenarios. But it's not all bad news. We also found a number of opportunities where consumers believe AI can actually contribute and add a lot of value. Everything from healthcare, which has had a track this week, to helping with tasks. And there will be a lot of themes around that today in my presentation as well. We think about automation. We think about actually helping with decision optimization. These are things where consumers do have more trust and they believe there's value to be added from AI and data science solutions. Now, we play specifically in the retail space. So when we looked at the survey results in terms of retail opportunities, we really wanted to understand where was the perception to add the most value most quickly and continue with that theme of trust. And you'll see here there are a number of areas. Personalization and budgeting are in the top 3. We're going to be talking more about those because it's the heart of what dunnhumby does. We've talked a little bit about AI in the industry, given a little bit of context to what's happening, and also understood a little bit about consumer perception. But what about the consumers themselves? So us, all of us in this room, right? What are your lives like? As Chris was already saying, you're busy, right? And Copilot adds lots of value, but it also reinforces how many different messages you're being inundated with. So whether it's text, email, virtual agents, it's coming to you all the time, and it's more than multi-channel. So the idea that we need to land the right messaging at the right time through the right channel is more important now than ever. We recently did a survey around consumer personalized preference, and so our retail preference index, and started to understand what consumers' expectations was. The interesting thing about this, when we think about consumers interacting with retails, there's a lot that could make or break that experience. And what consumers told us was that the idea of having savings, having a broad assortment of products, and having a frictionless experience was top of mind. So the retailer preference index that we've conducted, focused on personalization, was done with 10,000 US consumers getting feedback on 60 major retailers. So this is a pretty broad swath of consumer understanding and the perception that goes with it. And these 3 themes will continue to carry and also reflect some of those opportunities we heard earlier in the perception space. So the savings, assortment, and frictionless experience are things consumers are telling us they're not willing to trade off, even as we continue to evolve technology that supports them. So what does this mean for areas AI can unlock potential and add value? dunnhumby has identified 3 key areas, and you'll see this come to life in our value propositions as well. Task automation, which is about reducing the redundancy of various tasks, saving time, giving you efficiency. Impactful personalization. So that goes back to what we said earlier about the busy consumer and the idea of landing the right messaging at the right time. And decision optimization. Much like Copilot, how can you help me make decisions faster? How can you improve the outputs? And how does that actually benefit the end result? This concept of real intelligence is finally coming into play. So while we'd love to say it's as simple as just layer ChatGPT over all our problems and we'll get the solution, that's unfortunately not the case. But the good news is we've developed a framework that actually leverages the benefits of evolving technology and data science in a way that is both helpful to consumers and beneficial to businesses. And you'll see that on the screen. Our focus is around strategy, which we've been talking about so far. Do you know your customer? Do you understand the problems that you're trying to solve? And do you have enough context for what's happening in the industry to apply that appropriately? Around our people and process, and I'm fortunate today that I've got a number of coworkers in the room and I get to brag on them for a minute. I'm a big believer that while technology continues to advance, there are certain things that it won't be able to replace, and that's the human interaction element. So this people component is really big. My coworkers, while I get to be behind the scenes building products and helping support them, they interact every day with our clients. They have to understand the client problems. They have to understand the context in the moment the decisions that need to be made, the strategy and bigger picture, and they have to bring all that together in a way that's really meaningful to the business and their partners that they're supporting. That's a huge undertaking, and something that I personally don't believe technology will be able to replace. So huge kudos to my coworkers and people doing work like that all over the world, because it really is the value add and something that will continue to drive those strategic relationships and beneficial processes. And finally, the tools and tech. So the idea that AI or other data science methodologies can add value is absolutely correct. It doesn't have to replace your existing technology in full, and there's opportunities to leverage that in a meaningful way in small slices. We're going to talk more about that in a moment. When we think about this concept of real intelligence partnered with artificial intelligence, we're hopeful that we continue to blend these two frameworks together to deliver value and add solutions. What I'd like to talk you through now is one of the ways we've done that at dunnhumby with personalization. So you heard that's not only a consumer expectation, but it's absolutely something that adds value for both the user and the retailer. For a customer, the benefit to me is I get the right messaging, I have a better understanding of what's available, and ideally, it's reaching me at a point in time whether I'm either making a decision or looking to make a decision in the near future. So there's a lot of benefit in terms of the data that it can bring to me as the user. In terms of the retailer perspective, there's also a lot of benefit in terms of sales uplift, increasing loyalty, and ensuring that we have the ability to influence behavior in a positive way. For retailers, this obviously has a long-term play on their loyal customers and what it means to retain those customers over time. So how does this come to life? Now that we know the problem and why both consumers and retailers benefit, we work at dunnhumby to combine feature engineering with advanced ML techniques, and we estimate a propensity to buy. And what that means is we're predicting what the customer might be buying and when they might be buying it. We analyze 18 billion data records per week, 18 billion. And included in that is 586 million baskets or carts that consumers are buying to understand these preferences, understand the behavior, and understand the transactional data behind it. As a result of this data, we've offered 61 billion personalized offers to date since the program's inception. So the impact of this is both beneficial and wide-ranging. But we can't do that without understanding the consumer journey. And we've been able to couple science along the way in every step of that journey and ensuring it's adding value and not just an add-on. An example of how we might do this in the journey is in the discovery phase. A customer generally purchases from a retailer. We have this historic data of what they're purchasing and how frequently, but we'd like to introduce them to a new product. So understanding those behaviors, understanding the products they're likely to engage with, and being able to make recommendations that are relevant to them is really strong in terms of the impact for introductory to new products or behaviors. Another example is substitutes. How many times have you gone into the grocery store and your favorite product isn't on the shelf? It's frustrating, right? Being able to provide comparable subs for products that will fill the need for you as a consumer is absolutely a key benefit to you as the shopper, but also the retailer. The better we can provide substitutes or alternatives, the more likely the retailer is to continue to retain you as a customer and decrease the impact of out of stocks on their shelves. So let's see a little bit more about this model and how it comes to life. I've mentioned we have a deep understanding of customers. We use that and match it with the available offer pool. One of my colleagues said, much like Match.com. And we ultimately look to make sure we're determining the mission that the consumer or the retailer is on. Is this a return or an acquire? A return says it's a behavior you've already conducted and we want to encourage you to keep doing that. Acquire is we want you to engage with something new. How do we inspire you and excite you, bring you in to either new products or offerings? The key to both of these missions and the science that supports them is a cohesive and coherent experience. So the idea that we wouldn't deliver the same message in multiple channels at the same time, and that the messaging we deliver is consistent both in terms of the products you expect, the offers, and why they're relevant to you. While many companies do personalization, being able to do this at scale requires understanding both the problems, the data available, and then having the science and technology to support that. It's a big undertaking. The next example we're going to talk through is assortment. Now, personalization seems pretty clear. Customers want products and they love offers. Retailers want to retain customers, but what about assortment? We heard this was a customer expectation. What's the benefit to a retailer? Understanding that there's a lot that the business can do to support customer choice is essential to this problem. The retailer benefit comes in both terms of sales uplift and efficiency, but there's so much to be gained also in terms of consumer insights. So what do I know about my user, how they're interacting, the products they're going after or not going after, and what does that mean for ultimately the products I put on my shelf? We want to drive better decisions, loyalty, and long-term growth for the retailer, and assortment is a great way to do that. Our assortment draws on AI and ML techniques, such as clustering, network theory, optimization, and vector embedding. We utilize our proprietary algorithms and reflect the customer needs, which is probably the biggest difference of this versus other models. Let's bring that to life. So, if you're a pizza fan, as I am, you might be going into the store looking for your favorite pizza. And if it's not cheese, sometimes that's harder to find, depending on the store and the assortment available. Our assortment models go beyond top-selling products. So in this model, you see that the top 3, just based on sales and interest, are all cheese with tomato. Well, that doesn't leave much in terms of variety. So the assortment science is actually going into the composite score and the substitutability rating to make other recommendations. So as soon as the retailer selects that first cheese and tomato offering, the science is actually down-weighting the other cheese and tomato offerings in favor of alternatives that meet more customer needs states. So we're starting to see a pepperoni or a ham and pineapple included in the mix as well. This is great because it's not only thinking about customer needs and variety, but it's focused on breadth over depth, which is a key to our assortment offering. It gives us a balanced range and more niche products, and ultimately recommends products over time and continues to adjust based on the propensity to buy as well as the substitutability and composite offerings. We're not stopping there. So we believe the evolution of technology, data science, and specifically the components around AI can add a lot of value. And one way we're bringing that to life is taking our already best-in-class assortment offering and using it to then bring forward the next level of technology and value. What that looks like for retailers is space-aware recommendations and automated planograms. So being able to actually localize an assortment and understanding within a given store what that means, both from a visual and on-shelf placement component, is really important. When have you ever been into a store where it's the exact same layout, foot for foot, post for post, end cap for end cap? Probably not often. So being able to factor that in and give more decision rights around the products that go on shelves and what those shelves look like drives a lot of value and benefit. There's also a huge efficiency play. If we can drive better assortments in the planograms up front, being able to ensure those can then be brought to life when shelves are being created and products are being stocked, saves money both at the store level and at the planning stage. It's pretty exciting, and it's an evolution of technology we already have, along with additional AI capabilities that we're looking forward to leverage. So we've talked a lot about data science, and I should have started with, I'm not a data science expert, I'm the product lady, but I wanted to give credit to the data science team at dunnhumby. We've got over 500 data scientists globally that work to leverage not only AI and ML technologies, but all of the things you see on screen. And please don't ask me to explain them because we might be here all day. But if you start at noon on the clock and go clockwise, each of these is increasing complexity. not only for how it's implemented, but for the value it can drive. Each and every one of these is live and active in a dunnhumby product or offering today. So those amazing 500 global data scientists have found a way to bring forward amazing technology and solutions in a way that's really beneficial to our clients and the shoppers. That's a huge feat. With AI, there's a lot to be excited about. And today and this week, you've talked a lot about the different benefits and really how to start applying those in your business and what it means to have the trust to go along with that. dunnhumby's proof. 3 decades worth of best-in-class offerings, really bringing science and solutions to life in a way that's meaningful and valuable to customers and the retailers we serve. If I could circle back and distill the learnings, both from today and from our broader company, into 3 key points, it would still follow our Real Intelligence framework. Strategy: know your customer. Have an understanding of the industry you're in, the context of the current landscape, and the problems you're able to solve. This is essential to being able to bring the right solutions to life and doing so in a way that's valuable for you and your user. People, process, and I've added in partners. So no one needs to go it alone. As we've heard, the AI landscape is steep and can be intimidating. But there's a lot to learn from your people in your business today and from others who are leveraging this amazing technology. With my example earlier in our teams, there are certain things that probably should never be automated, and understanding where that line is in your business is crucial to defining where this technology can be beneficial and where there's still a lot to gain from having people in the mix. Tools and tech. I would advocate for small iterative slices if you're just starting out. You don't have to reframe your entire ecosystem based on AI or even generative AI capabilities. It's back to laying ChatGPT over everything you do. You might not get the benefit you expect. So picking a single use case and being able to iterate through that to see where you can add value and how you can measure that value over time is going to provide a lot more benefit to you than taking a big bang approach if you're just getting started. Our belief at dunnhumby is data science is powerful and an understanding of a customer is even more so. We believe if you combine your real intelligence with the artificial intelligence, there are big wins to be gained for both you and your consumers. I hope I've delivered on my promise and kept your trust, sharing at least something that is interesting or helpful to you as you leave the conference today, and appreciate your time very much.